How's everybody doing today? Wonderful? Do you like free money? Yeah! Okay, how much longer should we wait before starting? Well, I mean, they still have the door open, so maybe we're going to wait. So, as part of this talk, just for attending, you will receive free things. Woo! Yay, swag! Free stuff. Anybody who can hear me out there? Swag attack. All right. Nobody's paying attention. No, I just got the door closed on me. All right. Do you think we're kind of getting ready to go here? Do you guys feel like we're ready to talk about free money and swag? Yeah. Almost? Okay. We're almost ready, or are we ready? We ready? Ready? I want to hear it. You ready? Ready. Ready for what? Free money and swag almost. Yes. Okay. All right. So, hi. My name's Stacy. I'm from GDG Dallas. And you're not really here to hear about me. You're hearing about free money and swag, right? So this is what you are thinking. Free money raining from the skies. And you get to be, rich Uncle Moneybags over here. But in reality, the thing that I'm going to teach you how to do is we're going to save that money. All right. So what are we doing by saying that we're going to save that money? All right, now, everybody knows that song, right? We're going to save that money. Okay. So when I talk about this, I'm talking about you not spending your own money to fund your events and to have really high-quality events without having to deal with some of that overhead. Free money, you say. So just to give you an overview of the things that we're going to talk about in this session, who to target for getting free money. Irritating people to give you free money. Coercing people to give you free money. Getting stuff in lieu of free money. Finding people to work for free, because remember, money is time and time is money, therefore people time is money and part of free money, right? So, finally, convincing people to work for free. So not only do you need to find them, but you need to convince them to come and do stuff without you giving them anything in return in terms of dollars. So who to target for getting free money? Now, you are going to hate me so much for this next slide, because you are going to have to do something that you absolutely hate, and which drives you to no end of irritation. You are going to have to talk to recruiters. Oh, so dirty, so dirty, so dirty. So, right. So, in this case, the number one group of people to actually talk to about getting free money are recruiters. And I will go into some of the reasons why. Basically, these people, in a lot of cases, get paid for putting people in positions. And those percentages are actually pretty high. And the cost that you're actually asking for, in a lot of cases, which is, what, a few $100s in order to buy pizza, maybe buy some stickers, things like that. The average cost to hire a U.S. employee in terms of what they're paying that recruiter is anywhere between $2,500 to $8,000. You're asking, so here's the thing. If they fund you for an entire 6 months and they get one person, it's absolutely paid for itself, especially if that person can file it under a large corporation. Woo! So large corporations will actually have a lot of times free money just automatically available to nonprofit organizations. For instance, like Home Depot. You can literally walk into almost any Home Depot here in the United States and say, I am with a nonprofit organization. You don't even need to present a 503c, and they have like at liberty to give you like $50 just straight off from the manager at that Home Depot, and up to like $100 worth of free items. There are so many other instances of this that you are doing yourself a disservice by basically not looking at the giving programs that are already available for even non-listed charitable organizations. So make sure to take a note of this one. Again, nonprofit donation agencies. Now, this can be different depending on your country, but there are large organizations such as Bill and Melinda Gates, especially if you're in a more of a developing nation, you're going to have this as an option, and they actually don't require some of the filing that you might think that they do. And there are smaller organizations that you should take a look at. And I will be posting some nonprofit listings in terms of agencies that you can write to in order to get funds. And remember, $50, $100, all those things you can get with basically using the same letter and filing off to literally 50 different places. And let's say you have a 5% return rate. That's 5% of what you maybe spent an hour putting together that letter, maybe another hour sending them all back. You know, how many of you have made, $1,000 or plus in an hour or two recently? Probably not much. It's not that much effort. It's just about repeating it. So government agencies, again, this does come down to whether or not you have a nonprofit listing, but also where you are in what country. So there are some places in the world where they actually fund this stuff. Especially smaller nations. I know a few in the EU actually will do this kind of direct funding, especially if you're doing events or a special event geared towards a certain program that might exist. So do take a look to see what initiatives are actually happening in your country to figure out whether or not you might qualify for some of those dollars. HR in your own company. You know what positions you might actually have available within your own company. Guess what? They would love to have you as a representative in the community going out and helping them bring in, quote, the right people. And what you can do is say, hey, what we would really appreciate, and I'd love to advertise for you, but you're not sponsoring us. So I feel a little guilty about saying stuff about how great my company is. If you're kind of not ponying up the dollars, I really would appreciate some extra money from your own HR organization. You know exactly who to go to, right? You know exactly who's potentially got money. Developer advocates, people within Google. And don't think that just because you asked one group for money, that means nobody has money. There are so many different avenues and developer advocates within Google, within Mozilla, within Canonical, within so many Microsoft. I've received money from Intel. It's just money that's available to you. And again, they don't require a huge amount to actually go and get that. So also your attendees. Now, I say this with a little bit of a grain of salt, just to say, if you're really kind of struggling, you're really not finding something there, a nominal fee makes a huge difference in your ability to fund a quality event and make sure that how many people are willing to go to an event, even if it only costs $5, if it means that they don't eat pizza and maybe they eat a nice sandwich, Think about those things and what's actually going to work best for your organization. Irritating people to get money, i.e. how to ask. I want to point this out. Irritating, which may also be known as nagging, is a combination of asking and being persistent. Just because you asked once does not mean that they don't have it later. And they are not necessarily going to contact you when they actually have money available. So just be persistent in what you're asking and how you're asking. Now, don't be a jerk. And certainly don't be that person on the right over here. I'm looking for a positive attitude. It's going to get frustrating sometimes, but if you just create a few different lists and you make sure that everybody's BCC'd so they don't know who got what, then you're making, make your lists of who those people are. Put a kind of a categorization around them in terms of the kind of events that you might be doing. So if you're doing an Android event, Intel might be a good company to also include in there. But maybe if you're doing cloud, you might want to include some of the Azure and Amazon folks. Android applies to both. But these are kind of things to think about in terms of the kind of events and the general categorization, and maybe making some pre-formatted documents to actually send out, and just being consistent in asking. And every once in a while, send a personalized one just so that you don't burn the connection. I want to make sure that you kind of understand this, at least in my experience. You get 0% if you don't ask for money. Nobody comes to you with piles of money. They don't know you need money. So why would they give you money? Like, honestly, wouldn't they want to just keep that money for themselves? Or for somebody who asks for it? So it's important that you guys know, folks know, I apologize, I don't mean to say guys, that you understand that if you never ask, you will never get it. But if you are persistent, 99% of the time you're going to get the funding that you're looking for. It may not all come at once. You may have to keep moving through multiple avenues, but it's very, very rare that I've had to spend a dime of my own money. And usually, if it is, it's something very last minute that I want to just get something fancy for somebody because I'm a huge fan of the speaker and I really know that they like this and I want to get them this speaker gift. And that's really just me giving them a gift. So that's just something to think about. There's no reason why you should be spending your own money. Coercing people to give you free money. So now you've irritated them, gotten them interested. Maybe they want to be a consistent sponsor. Maybe they are interested in more than just, one night fling, so to speak. They're interested in starting a relationship. Well, I want to make this very, very clear. Free is an illusion. Whoa. Mind blown, right? So everything has a cost associated with it. Time, money, energy, and exchange. What are you going to provide somebody in exchange for what they are giving to you? Right? Is that a very clear concept? Everybody? Yes, right? Nothing is in fact free. There's a very common saying here in the United States of there's no such thing as a free lunch. Google says, oh yeah, we give free lunches. And it's like, no, but you eat and then you're back in your chair within 30 minutes, right? So it's not free. Everything has a cost. Everything has an exchange. You just have to weigh and value what that is for you. But what can you offer in exchange, right? Your time, your energy, your money, that in exchange for money. So, visual promotion in slides consistently. If you have a consistent sponsor and they are willing to just constantly give you money, you know what? Make a slide template. Make sure that their logo appears on, the start of every slide deck, or it's a consistent logo in the bottom right-hand side of the slide deck, especially one that has like your GDG logo, and then maybe the sponsored by, right? Because that really bottom area that you see right down here, look at how they've done that and used it here. You could be putting logos down here and basically selling it as part of your template. And that's actually worth real money, FYI. Because these slides get posted places. It's consistently in line with the topic. They remember seeing the logo. It's one of those things that's part of a repeats. Shout-outs. Shout-outs at the beginning and end of the event, as well as social media. Being sure to be overly thankful. How much does it cost you to thank somebody? How much does it cost you to do any of this? Nothing. That's the most important thing. Being overly thankful for everything that you get will only ensure that people are even more thankful to give you more. So now I want to talk a little bit about just a couple things that you can do that are a little bit different when you get nonprofits to sponsor you versus companies and for-profit organizations to sponsor you. One of the things you can really, really do well on is job advertising. So what you can do before each and every GDG meeting is you can say, these are a series of jobs that are currently looking for people to fill them, the experience level. Now, some of you may be doing this already. Why aren't you charging them for that? You know, how many places would probably give you, what, $50, $100 just to advertise to your group? That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Charge them for it. You're putting in effort, you're giving them stuff, and you're connecting your people with companies and organizations that you've already vetted, that you've already, made a connection with and know that they're going to be quality. So it's beneficial to both sides, and it keeps the group going, right? And sometimes just have sponsors give a presentation. If somebody was nice enough to provide a large venue for free, especially for like a dev fest, if they have paid for food for 1,200 people or something like that, make sure that they have slots. If it's going to be like a large panel event and maybe going to be like 3 hours, make sure that you give them 15 minutes to talk about how great their company is, and make sure that you give them shout outs during that. And again, that's a major thing that you can give to them that says, you know what, this is an approved organization, they obviously care about the community, and we're going to make sure that they get their time. And nonprofit sponsorship. So I actually get a little bit of for-profit sponsorship where I do the same thing, but some nonprofits, in fact, almost all of them, will require that you actually document the event in pictures, video, blog post. Now, what's great about that is that you've actually already probably writing that stuff. You're probably already doing that stuff just to make sure that you're kind of meeting your own expectations for your GDG, or it might be something that's required for your region. Why not make money off of it, right? Why not get free money for the work you're already doing? A lot of things I'm talking about here are things that are super simple for you to do, or you may already be doing, but that you could actually start getting some income from. So, strategies that work for coercing people. Ground yourself in data. What do I mean by that? Know your group numbers. How many people are consistently coming to your group? What do your diversity numbers look like? And also, what are the levels of experience that you have in each of your little subgroups? You can get an idea of what that is. They don't always need something that's highly specific, but as long as you are providing them with, hey, I am guaranteeing that for your $100, this is going to go out to our newsletter on Meetup, which reaches 3,000 developers, and it's going to be seen in person and heard in person by a minimum of 30 people. And these 30 people represent these skills. You've instantly told them what they're buying, right? Know your data, because otherwise you're just going in and saying, hey, I would like for you to give me $100 for me to give you a shout out. They don't know who that shout out's going out to. So have more than one person do this. So right now, you may only have one person who's going out and doing this as part of, who's running the GDG wholly by themselves. This is one of those things that could be delegated to other co-organizers who maybe don't want to run events, or maybe they just want to help out a little bit. These are things that you can ask your community members to go out and do individually on their own, and give people kind of, hey, anything that comes in is probably a good thing. Any connection that you get is probably a good thing. And you want to have a mixture of personality types in this area, because you want to have somebody who's highly charismatic, and you want to have somebody who's very much down to earth in the numbers and maybe is, going to be a little bit more curt. So it's all dependent on who you're interacting with, which comes into this third point. Make sure you know who you are talking to and tailor what you are asking for succinctly for that audience. If you are going in to a CTO's office, he's probably going to want data. He's going to want a very succinct, elevator pitch style proposal for maybe a continued sponsorship, a relationship, so to speak. But if you're going in and talking to somebody who's maybe an HR representative, or who's talking to another employee of the company, you may want somebody who's got a little bit more charisma, who's going to kind of convince somebody else to introduce them to that next level. So just remember that you're trying to tailor those people and those personalities to try and get what you want, and make sure that you understand what their needs might be. Prepare documents for what you can offer, given the level of sponsorship at an event. So you have a list. They're essentially a purchase order. Makes it very easy for them, because they can account for how much exposure, just like I said with grounding yourself in data, know what your pricing is, give them a sheet, let them pick from the sheet. It makes it very simple. They write what they want it to say, and it comes back to you, and you don't have to do anything beyond that point. There's no back and forth conversation. There's no hassle into it. Send them to a Google Doc, right? And here's another thing to kind of understand when it comes to getting some of this free money. Some places will want you to have an LLC or 503c or a C Corp or some sort of official organization in order to take in large amounts of money. If you're running a big event, if you have somebody who already has a company who might be helping you run an event that's a little bit larger, this can make it a lot easier. But some places really need somebody who can actually do invoicing legally, and so that you can get those larger sums. There's certain regulatory things around some of that. And just be aware that that might be something that's asked of you, and it will make a difference in your ability to take in funds. Getting stuff in lieu of free money. What is that? Swag. Stuff we all get, right? So what I want to say here is that it's very important that you have something that you are giving somebody more than just food. It might be stickers, it might be small little trinkets, but something that actually helps advertise your group or the technologies that you're working with, and just kind of give somebody a little touch of something to remember their experience on. But you don't want to pay for that, right? So here's the most important strategy. Take what you can get, all right? So it might be something small. You guys are making me laugh. Yeah, you folks, sorry. It's important to understand that this is a cash grab, and this is all about getting as much as you can in as little of effort as you can. So that might be things such as human resources, promotional items, mugs, pins, chargers, things like that. Things that are advertising, especially if you are already going to be advertising jobs for them. How much nicer would it be if they actually have contact information on a set of pens or stickers or things like that, or website information on little pieces of swag that they then give to you to give out to everybody. It's like a 1-2 punch, you know? It really helps boost them up, and that's how you can sell it to them, right? So you've told them about the job, now you're reinforcing it with free items, and then you get free items to give to everybody. Oh my God. So, stickers. Things like what you've gotten on the tables outside. How many of you grabbed extra stickers for your organization? Every hand needs to be raised. And to be honest, they were only giving us a certain amount of the GDG stickers. Just roll on by there. Oh man, can I ask for more of these? You think I'm joking? Girl, I got 6 packs of those stickers. Hey. Hey, just ask a different person every time. Google Assistant stickers, how many packs of those do you think I grabbed? Flutter stickers, all that stuff. I am making sure that I consistently have at least something that's pertaining to the Google technology that they are already giving us free stuff. You see it there. It's still on the table. It still exists. Nobody's stopping you. Just grab it, right? I mean, yeah, it's exactly, right? Like, what? Courtesy doesn't exist in this situation. And following that point, make sure that you always have some kind of item that's related to the talk or the technology being displayed. You are essentially acting as free advertisement for technologies for other companies, right? For Google, Microsoft, Amazon, you might be doing some sort of thing about Dialogflow. There's a lot of other interfaces for that. Why aren't you getting free stuff from those people if you're going to be talking about and promoting their technology? Take that into account. And then also it helps to reinforce exactly what the topic was. So these kinds of things are good in both getting people into the door because they know they're always going to leave with something, and it's going to keep a good consistent churn of new faces who might find that they really fall into the group just because, hey, this is known to have free swag. I'll at least go for that. Maybe I'll meet something. Maybe they'll become a consistent part of the group. but you're also reinforcing the topic, right? Raffle, high-end items. Now, high-end is relative in this case. I put $20 plus for US. It might be different in your region. And offer companies the ability to sponsor these items. Again, that comes down to that sheet, pricing sheet. That could be things like Udacity codes. That could be things like O'Reilly codes. Make sure that it's something that's educational and pertains to what you're doing. Could also just be Android figurines, right? Cool stuff for the desk. And again, codes for learning services. A lot of large corporations actually do have discounts already with these learning corporations, such as Udacity. Remember the Google codes from, from some of the study jams? So there's ways to get that kind of stuff, especially if it's for their technology. So there's multiple courses for like AWS and things like that. So finding people to work for free. Sometimes it feels like you're just searching and searching for just that special someone, doesn't it? But I'm here to tell you, where are they? Speakers. Go to other meetups. And I will say this very, very, very loudly. Repeat talks to different audiences still add value. Just because somebody has given a talk 3 or 4 times to 3 different groups does not mean that that does not have value for your group to hear the same talk. It's so important that you take quality content and you spread it as far as you can, and you keep a nice round of new faces coming in to speak. Ask. Just ask. At the beginning and end of all meetups, beginning and end, hey, if you are interested in speaking, come and speak. Talk to other meetup group organizers. They're going to have groups of speaker lists, and I really hope that you're joined already on your local city's Slack, as well as for Slacks related to your particular areas of technology that you focus on, because you might be able to get somebody to fly out. Somebody might be already traveling there for a conference. Why not also have them speak at your event? And you can get sponsors to put forth speakers. Those large companies already have a lot of cases, developer advocates or people who are working with that technology very deeply, which is why they're trying to advertise and get their foot into the door of your organization. Why not have them speak about an implementation that they already have with that technology, right? And then you could charge them for it. So you can get some more free money from having them speak for free. You know, it's a cycle that keeps on giving. So volunteers, just Slack, email, make sure that you have local hangouts for your local GDG, especially if you're already meeting up with just your co-organizers. Why not have that be a public meeting that anybody else who chooses to join in can actually come in? That's one of the things that we have in GDG Dallas, and it's actually been pretty successful in making sure that everybody's on the same page, that we have more people coming in and participating, even if they only want to participate for certain events. And ask in person for what you are looking for, right? So you need a bunch of volunteer events, ask at the end of the meetup. If you think that somebody else is offering a particular skill set that may not be technical, it might be that they know a certain person or they know how to get a lot of other people involved because maybe they run another meetup, just go in person and ask. Hopefully you have a good rapport with a lot of the people in your group. And finally, convincing people to work for free. So you might be thinking, oh my God, can't talk now, got stuff to do. You're so busy all the time, right? So for getting speakers, especially first-timers, it might be helpful to have one-on-one speaker feedback so that you're actually helping somebody mentor and get better at speaking. And what I would also say is start having some other groups where you might do just 15-minute lightning talks every once in a while, because 15 minutes is a lot less intimidating than putting somebody on stage for the first time for an hour. So think about that, but also make sure that you are a constant person that is directly mentoring them and giving them encouragement, and also being a little bit critical from time to time, because if all you do is say you're doing this fantastic, you're doing this fantastic, and you don't put a but, they're not going to take you seriously, right? You're there to build their confidence. You're there to build their skill set and to make them better. So you want to be just not all rainbows and sunshines, because you know what? Sometimes the rain falls in order to make that happen. So just keep that in mind. You want to be positive. You want to be overall positive, but you also are there to help them. So that's it. And that follows into this next point. Be a little bit irritating. Make sure that they are very much on time with getting you copies of slides so that you can go over it. And so what you're doing is setting them up for timing. You're setting them up for that kind of critique, and you're making sure that they are becoming a better speaker before they even ever present. So in terms of getting experienced, the GDE program is a fantastic place to look for speakers, especially if you have conferences going on. You may not have everybody in your GDG going to that conference, especially if it pertains to a totally different technology set, right? There was a C# conference, and hey, you aren't necessarily C# people, but they might actually have some people that are talking about like how to do GCP to Azure migrations and back and forth, right? And that might actually have a lot of value for you, right? And experienced people need exposure, right? So we are a name brand program. Name brand, right? Google, big name, a lot of brand. Because we are a name brand program, that means that all of your Google developer groups have value beyond, just your immediate area, right? So an employer can see this on their speaking list, and they know immediately, oh, wow, I know that group. That's an international group. So take that into consideration when you're trying to sell somebody to come into this, because, look at how much money this program truthfully has. Think about every single one of you, the cost that they are giving and the investment that they're making in you right now. Think about what that means in terms of, wow, this program's pretty valuable. It's got actual monetary value behind it. So use that to get them extra exposure and sell it to them that way. And a little bit of guilt. I'm sure a lot of you have mothers out there. I love mine. If you ever see this, Mom, I love you. But I've ridden that train. I know how it runs. I know how to make a guilt train work. So what I would say is that a little bit of guilt from time to time about, wow, well, you talked at this place and you talked at this place. Do you just not like me? Or, it hurts, doesn't it? It hurts. That's what guilt is. So, so a little bit of guilting, as long as it's playful, as long as it's not something where you're trying to be harmful to another person, isn't necessarily a bad thing. And getting volunteers. Offer them free stuff. I told you how to get free stuff. A lot of people will come for just free stuff. And what I say about that is also like free admission to your dev fests. If it comes down to also like volunteers get priority in terms of tickets for events in your area, free tickets that you might be distributing. And you say, hey, people who volunteer, who help us open up the building, who help us, put everything together, get first crack at that stuff. Wow, that's pretty valued. Again, it's a type of money exchange, right? Free mentoring. They are learning by being a volunteer how to run a developer group. And guess what? That leadership and those leadership skills, how many of you are leaders in companies or other areas besides just Google? Raise your hand. Wow, that's what? 70% of you? 70% of you. How many of you think that this actually made you better at being a manager of people or a manager of tasks just due to doing GDG? Wow, right? So what are you offering them? You're basically offering them management training. They don't realize it yet, but that's what you can tell them is, hey, this is a type of management training just by volunteering and, doing a little bit of scrubbing dishes, so to speak, actually you can learn how to become a better chef just from exposure, right? So think about that. Community credibility. If they are a volunteer, they get to put that on their resume, right? What do employers love to see? Community involvement. Perfect. Exposure, again, they're going to get to see a lot of things. They're going to get to hang out with you. They're going to get to hang out with all of the speakers. They're going to get to learn that information. It's good karma. And again, you can guilt them into it every once in a while, right? Like, hey, you've been coming here for the last 2 years and we really appreciate it. But have you ever thought about just, I'd really love to see you come in and, really be a part of this organization, especially somebody who's maybe a little bit iffy about it, right? Who doesn't feel as confident. You can kind of guilt them into it a little bit as long as you're being open to them. And so that is the end of this presentation. My name is Stacy, and I'm from Dallas. And here's the slides. I know a lot of you were taking pictures of it, but now you can just get it. Some other information about me, contact info. Yeah. Cheers.